Your tutor from TutorZone that tutors you on Wednesdays. Again, I want to apologize for my inadequate teaching today. I feel like I didn't really do a great job of explaining how to do surface area of a square pyramid. I kind of had my thoughts all jumbled around and I had the incorrect formula. Long story short, I didn't do my job. So what I want to do in this video is explain myself and talk about some things that will help you to find the surface area of a square pyramid, and that can hopefully help you for your test on this week or whenever it is, basically. So let's get into it. So I have two examples here. I'm going to be talking about them in depth, and I'm going to also talk about the different ways to solve them, because as you can see, I have two green formulas. I'm actually going to make them blue just for now, just so we can have some clarity and some difference. Okay, so I have two blue formulas, and both of them actually give me the same thing. So this is the one on top here, the one right here. I'll put number 1 next to it. This is the one that I'm sure most of you are probably used to. It is basically surface area is equal to 1/2 the perimeter of the base. So this square down here, the perimeter of that, times the length, which is the length is this green 7 here, and then plus the area of the base. Okay, so this is one way. I'm going to do this method first because, like I said, I believe this is the one that most of you will be familiar with because it is the one that I believe Sarah said that it was the one that your teacher explained it as. So I want to explain this one first, and then I'll talk about this one, which seems more complicated, but it actually really isn't. So let me go ahead and do the first one first. So surface area is equal to 1/2, and as I rewrite this equation, I'm going to be filling in numbers as I go along here. So first number I need to look out for is perimeter. So again, perimeter is the bottom number here. We need to find perimeter of the base. And the base here is this square that goes here and here, and the sides are 8. So if I was going to draw that over here, it would look something like this. Just like that, okay? And then all the sides are going to be equal to 8. So we have 8 here, 8 here, 8 here, and then 8 here as well. So we need to be able to find the perimeter of this. Again, the perimeter of this square is basically adding all these numbers up together, and when we do that, we find that we have an area of 32. So good, we already have perimeter down. And this L here, which I write in cursive just so we know that it's an L, this L is represented by this green line here. This is called the slant height, which I kind of referred to earlier in today's lesson, but again, this is basically the height of the triangle. It's not the height of the actual square pyramid itself, it's the height of the triangle. It goes from the bottom here to the top here. So again, they give us that length, and they most likely will give you this length, and they call it 7. So I'll just write a 7 there for us. Good. Okay, now we need to do our last variable here, which is b. And b, of course, is the area of this square here. So area, again, is length times width. So here we would do 8 times 8, which would just be 64. Okay. So we already have all of our numbers. We have the 1/2, which we can also use as 0.5, right? We can use 32, we can use 7, and then we add this to 64. So our first basically our first step here is to just multiply all these numbers together. So again, we can just go ahead and I like to get the fractions out of the way first. So 1/2 times 32 is basically 32 divided by 2, which would just give us 16. 16 times 7 plus 64. And then we can do that again. What is 16 times 7? I use my phone here. 16 times 7 will give us 112. And then add that to 64. And we get an answer of, let me double check, 176. I didn't give you guys any units here, as you guys can see, but let's just say it's feet. And of course, when we write our answer, whatever it's going to be is always going to be squared. So let's just say that this is feet, And so our answer here is 176 feet squared. Okay, not bad. So what I'm going to do is talk about this next step here, this next method here, which this might work for some of you, but maybe some of you like this first method. Again, I can explain this in a different scenario, which I will do later. But let's just first focus on this answer here. 176 is our answer. Let's see if we get the same answer by using a different method. So this method is basically taking apart all the pieces of this square pyramid. So how many triangles do we have in our square pyramid? We have 4, right? Because we have 1 on each side of the square. So we have 4. Let's draw a better triangle here. So this is 1. This is 2. This is 3. And then this is 4. So we have 4. We have 4 triangles in our shape, in our prism here. And we also, don't forget, we also have this square here. I'm just going to try to copy it. There we go. We don't need that 8. Okay. So now we have all of our shapes, right? We have the base, which is a square, and we have all of the triangles that make up the prism, right? Because if we were to attach these all together into like a 3D shape, we would get this guy. So basically, what we want to do in this method here is we're going to take the area of each of these shapes and then add them up. So what is the area of a triangle? It is 1/2 base times height, right? And again, I have 4 of these, so that's why I'm multiplying by 4, okay? So again, you could do all of these one by one and just add them up all together, or you can just find the area for one of them and multiply it by 4, and then you'll get all of your, the total area for all of these triangles. And then this next step over here, b times b, that's basically saying that we're multiplying by this is to find our area of the square here, which again is this guy from earlier, right? So let's go ahead and solve for the area of our triangles. So what is our height? What is this length here? And I gave you a hint. I put it in green for a reason. It's 7, right? Because they give us that height, and they actually tell us that the height of this triangle from the bottom to the top is 7. Good. Okay, so we know base. We know height. Now we need to find base. What is the base, this part down here, what is the base of our triangle? It's 8, because this side here is equal to this side here. That's how they make a prism, right? So now we know our base, now we know our height for our triangles, so we can go ahead and solve for our first area, which is area of our triangles. Again, I'm multiplying by 4 here because I have 4 triangles. All right. So 4 times 1/2 base times height. So I know base, which is 8. I know height, which is 7. Good. So we have our numbers filled up for our triangles here, which is good. Now let's go ahead and move on to the area of our square here. What is the area of our square? Well, to find area of a square, we need to just multiply length times width, right? So basically, we need to find all the sides, which we already did for our previous method, right? All the sides are equal to 8. So this guy is equal to 8, and this guy is equal to 8. So if I wanted to find the area, I would just multiply these two numbers together. I would get 8 times 8 is equal to 64. Okay, cool. So now I have all of my variables found, right? This is the area for one triangle, right? 1/2 times the base, which is 8, times the height, which is 7. And again, I'm multiplying it by 4 here because I have 4 triangles. You could, like I said before, you could find the area for all of these triangles individually and then add them up, but that would take longer, and the shortcut really is to just multiply by 4 because, we have 4 triangles. I hope that makes sense. And then our next step is to add the area of our square here. So the area, like we found here, was 8 times 8, which is 64. Good. So let's do the math. So what happens when we multiply 4 times 1/2 times 8 times 7? Okay, well 4 times 1/2 is 2. 2 times 8 is 16. And then 16 times 7 will give me 112. So 112 plus 64 is equal to 176. Again, let's just say it's feet squared, right? And if we look at our two numbers that we have for our answer, they're actually the same. 176, 176. So there's two methods here. Again, you could use the method that your teacher gave you, which is 1/2 the perimeter of the base times the length, the slant's height, or you can call it the heights, whatever you want to call it, the length of the height of the triangle. It's kind of a difficult term, but basically it means that you're going from the top of this triangle, which is here, down to here, and that length is 7. So you multiply those together, and then you add that to the base, the area of the base, I'm sorry, which we did here. So that's one way. We got the same answer. We got 176. Or what you could do is think about it like you're taking the area, you're finding the area for each of these shapes that make up the entire prism, right? We have 4 triangles, and we have 1 square at the bottom as our base. I found the area for 1 triangle, and since I have 4 triangles, I just multiplied that by 4, and then I added that to the area of my base, which is just a square, which I just squared. I just multiplied 8 times 8 together and got 64. So once I added all those numbers together, I got an answer of 176 for both methods. Okay? All right. So that was our first example, and that was me kind of talking over what to do. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for our next example here, which is it's actually not that different. It's the same shape, but I just changed the number. So again, our first method, we could do the surface area is equal to 1/2 the perimeter of the base times the length, where the length is, think about it as the height of the triangle, plus the area of the base. So let's go ahead and do that first one. And maybe you like this one more because there's less variables, right? You have only the perimeter, you have the length, and you have the area of the base. So maybe you like this method because there's less variables. It's up to you. Like I said, I'm just trying to show both methods because both are viable. And of course, as I just showed you, both give you the right answer, the same answer. And let's go ahead and fill in our variables. So what is the perimeter of the base? Let's draw a triangle. Let's draw a square down here. And if I know one side is equal to 11, this side is equal to 11 because it's a square, by the way. This side's 11 and this side's 11. So what is the perimeter of this square here? Think about it. 44 is the correct answer because I just pretty much add all those 11s up together. Good. So now what is the height? What is the length? What is that variable L there? It's 12, right? Because again, I'm using that same length, which is again the length of the height of the triangle, right? So that's one way you can think about it. So again, 12 is our height of the triangle here, so we use that as our variable L. And then our next step is we're going to be adding the area of the base. So what is the area of the base? Well, here's the base. What is the area? I'll give you a hint. It's length times width. And if you said 121, you got the correct answer because 11 times 11 is 121, and that's the area of our base. Cool. So now my next step really is to just go ahead and do these numbers. So I need to multiply these guys all together and then add it to this number. So what is 144 times 12? Actually, let's do I'm sorry, it's not 144, it's just 44. 44 times 1 half, or 0.5, is equal to 22. And then if I multiply that to 12, I get an answer of 264. But then I still need to add this 121. So let me go ahead and add that 121. So what happens when I add 264 to 121? I get an answer of, let me write it in yellow, I get an answer of 385. And just for the sake of it, let's just say it's in feet squared. All right, so that's our first answer. Cool. Well, not really, it's our answer, but it's the answer for our first method, right? And again, I'm going to be showing you the other method here, which is taking apart the triangle, the square prism, shape by shape, and taking each area and then adding them up all together. Okay, so remember, this method is the one that your teacher gave you. I'm pretty sure it's the one in your book. You might like this one because it has less variables. It has only the perimeter, right? The perimeter of this base. We have the length, which is here, the length of this side here, which is 12. And then we also have B, which is the area of this base. So all of that together will give us 385. And yeah, let's go ahead and move on to our next method. Again, you might not like this method because it has kind of a lot of things going on, but it might make sense for those of you who like to think visually, right? You have a shape, like a prism, like a 3D shape, and we're going to take it apart one by one until we get all of our shapes taken apart, right? So basically, the surface area is equal to, we have 4 triangles, so 4 times 1 half times base times height. This is the area for one triangle, of course, but I have 4 triangles, as we'll see. So I'll be multiplying by 4, right? So then I'm going to be adding the area of those triangles to the area of the base. So what is the area of the base? It's basically just the side of the base times the side of the base, right? Which again here is 11, but we'll get into that later. So let's go ahead and just visualize our shape here. So what if we took all of these piece by piece apart, right? We took this triangle out, we took this triangle out, we took this triangle out, and this triangle out, and we had our base. So we already have our base here, so I'll leave it there. Let me go ahead and draw our triangles. Let's do 1. Oops. Come on. There you go. 3. And then 4. And that guy should not be there. Okay. So we have 4 triangles and we have 1 base. So these 4 triangles, when put together on this base, will give us this prism, as you can see. And now we need to find the area for one of these triangles. And like I said, if we find the area for one of these triangles are all the same, and we can just multiply it by 4 to get our the total area of our triangles. And then we need to add that to the area of our base here, which is right here, and we can just go ahead and add them up together and get our surface area, right? So first we need to find the base and the height for our triangles here. So what is the height of this triangle? And they tell you in the diagram, so look at it real quick and think about it. What is the height of our triangle here? It's just 12, right? Because they tell you that the height of this height right here is 12. This length from the top of this triangle to the bottom is 12. So I'm going to write it as 12. Next question. What is the base of my triangle? This length right here at the bottom. What is that length there? The base of it. Well, they also tell you right here. The base of your triangle is in yellow, which is 11. So now I know my base and my height for my triangle. So let's go ahead and plug it into our equation. So I know that I have 4 triangles and all these guys are the same. So I have 4 triangles I'm going to find the area for one of them inside this parentheses. So what is my base? It's 11 times 11. What is my height? That's 12. Okay, good. So now if I was to find the total area for all these guys, I'm going to put a big red bracket around them. The total area is going to be equal to this. All those triangles put together, the area of all those triangles put together is going to be equal to this guy right here. Good. So now we need to go ahead and find the area of our base, which is our last shape, which is our square. So what is the area of this base right here? Think about our previous equation. What number is it? 11 times 11 is 121. Awesome. Okay, so now we have no variables left in our equation. We can go ahead and just plug these numbers into our calculator. So let's go ahead and do our first one, our first equation first, which is 4 times 1/2 times 11 times 12. And you could just type in your calculator 4 divided by 2, which will give me 2, and then multiply that by 11, which will give you 22, and then 22 times 12 will give you 200. Let me write that in this pink color. 200. Come on. 264. And of course, I got that from this equation bracketed in pink, right? So now I just need to add that to 121. So what is 264 plus 121? It is equal to 385 feet. 385, and we'll say 80 feet squared. So surprise, surprise, it is the same as our previous equation answer, right? We both get 385 for both answers. Okay, so that kind of wraps up my little talk here about surface area. If there's anything else that you guys want me to review before your test, whenever that is, please send me an email and I'll be happy to make another video for you. I kind of like making these. It kind of makes me feel like the guy from Khan Academy. But yeah, I really hope this helped you guys out because I know you guys had some questions on surface area, and I gave you guys 2 different ways on how to solve it. One with the equation that is taken from your homework or your book or your teacher. 1/2 times the perimeter times the length, which is in green, plus the area of the base. And the second one takes apart the prism, the 3D shape, into 2D shapes like these. And I found we have 4 triangles. I can multiply 4 times the area of a triangle to get the total area of all these triangles, plus the area of our base, which is just a square. And then you can just plug those numbers in and get your answer. And they're both the same. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, let me know. Leave a like or something, and I'll make sure to make more of these if I can. Or if there's other topics that you want me to go over, I'm more than happy to make these videos for you. All right, guys, that's all I had today, and I'll see you guys later.